Biden administration officials are urging the dock workers union and the shipping industry to return to the negotiating table ahead of a looming strike. If the union does walk out at midnight on Tuesday, the impact on the U.S. economy could be catastrophic. Here's ABC's Rena Roy.
Tonight, 45,000 dock workers on the East and Gulf coasts are preparing to walk off the job, and it could be devastating for the U.S. economy. 14 ports from New England to Texas could shut down Tuesday at midnight. Up to 36 could be affected. Those crucial hubs responsible for nearly 35% of all U.S. imports and exports.
When my men hit the streets, from Maine to Texas, every single port will lock down.
The International Longshoremen's Association demanding higher hourly wages in their new contract and a ban on automated cranes, gates, and trucks. A prolonged strike could mean delayed shipping and higher prices for Americans on things like clothes, electronics, cars, and food like canned goods and fresh produce. The U.S. economy would take a direct hit.
It's estimated that a strike would cost somewhere around $5 billion a day.
The U.S. Maritime Alliance, representing the shippers and ports, says it's committed to negotiating, but claims the union is not bargaining in good faith. The Biden administration urging both sides to negotiate fairly and quickly.
Both sides have got to settle the strike. Support the collective bargaining effort. I think they'll settle the strike.
Now, according to a senior White House official, Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg and other top officials met with the alliance to deliver that message. Lindsay?
Rena, thank you.
Strike for union workers at major shipping ports along the East Coast. Thousands are set to hit the picket line this Tuesday. The International Longshoremen's Association ordering a strike after talks demanding fairer wages hit a standstill. News Nation's Caitlin Becker joins us live from Port Elizabeth, New Jersey. Caitlin, what are we learning here? Major developments since the last time we spoke.
Yeah, truly, Jesse. I was not expecting to hear this today. We're 36 hours before the deadline, and the ILA sent out a communication announcing that they're absolutely going to strike. They're going to walk off the job when their current contract expires. Now, it's a 6-year contract. Each of these contracts are 6 years, and the expiration date is midnight on Monday. So 12:01 Tuesday, these workers are going to walk off the job. There's going to be a full-on work stoppage up and down the East Coast and parts of the Gulf. Now, the ILA has not released any details specifically about exactly where these picket lines are going to be. They said that's going to come likely sometime tomorrow. However, they did note what the major issue was, and it really came down, Jesse, to wage stagnation. They said that the U.S. Maritime Alliance, that is who they're in talks with or were in talks with, just wouldn't come to an agreement about what they called wage subjugation that they said had been happening for years. Now, I have to tell you that from the U.S. MX perspectives, they have said time and again that they were offering industry-leading wages more than the 32%, which was the last hike that their West Coast counterparts got for their contract last year. But the ILA wanted a 77% wage hike, and they just couldn't come to an agreement. Now, these two groups haven't been at the negotiating table for months. These talks stalled back in June. So this is something, kind of an eventuality that we were all expecting. And the ILA president has said in the past that they've been planning for this for a year. So the impacts could be far-ranging, though, Jesse.
Can we talk about that? Because what we're referring to, just to make it clear for our audience, is essentially the entire East Coast. What is the impact on customers come Tuesday?
Could be pretty large. Probably Tuesday itself, we won't feel it, but the ripple effect, according to retail experts, are things that we could certainly feel. And you said pretty much the entire East Coast, and I actually want to read you the list of the 14 ports that are going to be impacted. They're, of course, the Port of New York and New Jersey, which is where I'm at right now, as well as the ports of Boston, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Norfolk, Wilmington, Charleston, Savannah, Jacksonville, Miami, Tampa, Mobile, New Orleans, and Houston. That's a massive, massive number of huge, huge cities. And every single good you can think of flows in and out of these ports. So as I said, the ripple effect could be pretty large. We could be seeing increases in shipping costs, delays in shipments, this backlog that's gonna sit untouched, not being able to be loaded and unloaded, because that's specifically what we're talking about here, the loading and the unloading of these shipping containers. And one of the things that the the union had a problem with was the thought that their jobs could be automated in the future. I think we're hearing that in a lot of different industries, and that's, of course, a sticking point here as well. Now, full automation is off the table. There is a current ban for that already, and the USMX said they're going to keep that. However, they wanted to negotiate semi-automation, and these big cranes that you see behind me at this port, those are things that could potentially be semi-automated or fully automated, and that means these workers could potentially lose their jobs in the future. So in addition to, of course, all of these shipping issues and the ripple effect that could have with commerce as we ramp into the holiday season, all these people are going to be out of a job too. So hopefully the strike won't last for too long and these two can come to an agreement on each side kind of getting what they want. And we do know that the White House had tried to get these two sides back to the bargaining table because they wanted to avoid this exact situation that we are going to find ourselves in on Tuesday. However, the Biden administration has said that they support collective bargaining and they've never tried to intervene in a strike in the past, and they are not going to now.
Impacted. It's basically every.
Here we go. We are T-minus basically 25 minutes, and I hate to be talking about this because everything that we're seeing right now is pointing to some really serious crap going down. I mean, serious crap going down. I have a bunch of stuff lined up to show you as we get closer and closer to the midnight hour, the bewitching hour. But there's no joy here because I'm worried. I'm concerned. I think there's more to this than what lets on. It just doesn't seem correct. It just seems kind of weird. Maybe this time it is the tinfoil hat. Maybe it is conspiratorial. But something is definitely off here. Let me just cut to this real quick. This is something that Praying Medic put up. Maybe some of you guys know who Praying Medic is, but things to consider now if you don't have them. 1 week supply of water. 1 week supply of shelf-stable food, non-perishable. A first aid kit. An alternative method of heating food, a grill. An alternative source of power, generator, light generator, solar power generator, battery-operated flashlights, battery-operated AM, FM, shortwave radio, CB, battery-operated two-way radio, supply of toothpaste, floss, shampoo, soap, toilet paper, tissues, and other toiletries, a compass and a map of your local area. Not sure why you'd need that, but most of us should know our way around our neighborhoods. A couple of plastic tarps, 250 feet of nylon, 550 paracord, a pew-pew, and a supply of ammunition. Can't disagree with much on that list. Are we being overly dramatic? No. With what you're going to see here in the next couple minutes, it's going to make you think something's really wrong. Now, I can't vouch for some of the stuff I've been seeing, but some of the stuff I've been seeing tonight as I've been waiting for this and just got done watching the Miami Dolphins get spanked, I saw this. And this is terrifying. Dock workers aren't just threatening to strike because they're underpaid. That's certainly true. But they're also furious and want to know why they keep hearing that inside of containers. And then another person down below says, I have a friend who works at Long Beach Harbor in California, and he told me his dock worker friends have been saying that to him for the past 3 to 4 years. Good Lord. I don't even want to think about that. I'm a grown-ass man, and that terrifies me. If these guys have been shipping containers and moving containers and have been hearing these screams, things are about to get squirrely. Very squirrely. It just doesn't make any sense anymore. And then you have the vice presidential debate tomorrow, which I'm going to get into as well. But there's just a whole lot going on right now that just doesn't make sense. And I just hope you have the ability to get out and prepare. Because listen to some of this.
Medical equipment, chemicals, vehicles, machinery, including electric machinery, which if you're in the southeast right now, you don't want any slowdown on that.
That's for sure.
What do you think is going to happen?
Well, what I think is going to happen is I think there is going to be a strike. I'm 99% sure, actually. In addition, already some of the terminals are going to start closing at 2 o'clock today. For Alba Wheels Up International, we've been working all weekend getting goods out of the terminals, knowing that there'd be a slowdown today. So effectively, in my opinion, strike started today, even though it didn't start officially till tomorrow.
99% sure.
99% sure.
Salvador, how would we as consumers or observing Americans, what would we see or notice first?
Okay, what you're going to see and notice first is produce. Produce, a lot of it comes to the East Coast. It's not like they could reroute it to another port. A lot of cold storage facilities are there. I wouldn't want to, though, get everyone in a malaise that there's not going to be any holiday or Christmas goods. Most of the companies and large corporations front-loaded. That means they brought the goods in earlier in the summertime, and they built up their inventories and so forth. This really is going to more impact industrial, bulk-type goods, steel, things of that nature. And by the way, in my opinion, this is just opening up an opening for that fast fashion online marketplaces overseas, where if you don't have something in stock or you're going to look for an alternative, you can nowadays get something from 3 to 5 days direct from China.
That's right.
So this guy's solution is don't worry about it. Just order stuff from China. We're going to shut down America, but go ahead and buy stuff from overseas. Hey, mister, how's it getting here? There's no bridges from here to China. How is it getting here if the ports are closed? Did anybody catch that, or was it just me? Because I've ordered stuff from China. I used to sell things in bulk. You maybe have ordered stuff from China. How's it going to get here? Unless it's being flown over. But that's a whole different thing.
So this is really only going to help the Chinese economy.
President
This is only going to help the Chinese economy. Go ahead, destroy America. It's going to help the Chinese economy. Is that a reason for doing it, maybe? I don't know.
Biden weighed in over the weekend, saying he will not weigh in. Watch him here.
Mr. President, would you intervene in the dock workers' strike if they go on strike on Tuesday?
No,
Why not?
because it's collective bargaining. I don't believe in Taft-Hartley.
So Dementia Joe's not going to get involved because he can't politically. He can't possibly get into a situation where he and Kamala are seen as busting up a union. Because if they busted up the union, goodbye Michigan. Goodbye all these states that have union people that they count on for votes. So the American people are just basically caught in a game of chess.
So people might not remember what Taft-Hartley is, but basically, do you think he should change his opinion on that and weigh in?
Well, first of all, as we know, what he says and does is two separate things. Obviously, he's not running for election right now, but that's another story. I do not think he's going to invoke the Taft-Hartley. I think he's going to have to work behind the scenes. He's always pro-union. But the thing...
Okay, the Taft-Hartley, this rule or regulation or whatever it is, what that is that you can order these guys to go back to work for 90 days while you negotiate. But in essence, you're basically still busting up the union.
About Taft-Hartley, and this is a big misnomer, even if they invoke the Taft-Hartley, the union president has clearly said, well, you know what? I'll follow the letter of the law to having the men go back to work, but instead of doing 30 containers, we'll do 5. Kind of the same thing as if we sent a child to a room because they had bad behavior and said, clean up your room. They would do one by one and not get done for 7 hours. So that's really not the spirit of the deal. I think that should be changed.
We're just looking at the map there.
Yeah.
36 ports. This is a massive deal if it happens, as you point out this afternoon. What would make the union happy? I think with Boeing, they wanted to raise it 35%. They're not there yet, but what would make this union happy?
They want 79%.
This union wants 70%. They want more than the LA counterparts. But here's the big thing. Even if you gave them the 70%, the U.S. is in the bottom quartile of port efficiencies and automation. So you're giving them something that really is not going to resolve the overall problem. The one thing I would put, whoever's negotiating this deal, is make the expiration during a non-peak season. We're technically...
Or maybe not during an election season. You know, read between the lines here. So we're at 15 minutes. I'm checking and refreshing to see if this thing happens or not.
In the summer, peak season for most goods, holidays, you know what? Have it expire January, February, Chinese New Year. If they take off a week, it will hurt, but you know what? Not so bad, okay?
That's not bad advice. Maybe the next.
But today's world, it's changing into the future.
So if you haven't seen this guy, this is the president or head of the Longshoremen's Union. And this guy it looks like something right out of The Sopranos. It looks like something right out of Godfather 1. He ain't playing around. This guy is talking like a serious mob boss. He's talking like the guys who beat up on Brando on the waterfront. This is insane.
They're not making millions no more. They're making billions. And they're spending it fast as they make it. I want a piece of that for my men, because when they made their most money was during COVID. When my men had to go to work on those piers every single day, when everybody stayed home and went to work. Not my men. They died out there with the virus. We all got sick with the virus. We kept them going. From Canada to Maine to Texas, Great Lakes, Puerto Rico, now the Bahamas, everybody went to work during COVID. Nobody stayed home. Well, I want to be compensated for that. I'm not asking for the world. They know what I want. They know what I want. And if they don't, well, then I have to go into the street and we have to fight for what we rightfully deserve.
Doesn't he sound like a mobster? Seriously, could have been central casting for a mobster. Could have been on The Sopranos. Doesn't look Italian, but nonetheless, mobster. And this one guy is basically looking to put the entire country into a state of flux. This one man.
These people today don't know what a strike is.
Right.
When my men hit the streets, from Maine to Texas, every single port will lock down. You know what's going to happen? I'll tell you.
All right, so listen to this. I don't know diddly about longshore work or unloading containers, but this guy is going to outline to you step by step what will happen if they go on strike in 10 minutes.
First week, be all over the news every night, boom, boom. Second week, guys who sell cars can't sell cars because the cars ain't coming in off the ships. They get laid off. Third week, malls start closing down.
Third week, the malls start closing down. I don't know how he can say that. I don't know how he would know what kind of inventory certain stores have. But 3 weeks, if starting from today, you're talking about basically just the end of October, before the election. That's 3 weeks. Now let's hear what he has to say about 4 weeks.
They can't get the goods from China. They can't sell clothes. They can't do this. Everything in the United States comes on a ship. They go out of business. Construction workers get laid off because the materials aren't coming in.
Okay, so I think there's going to be a huge need for construction materials in Georgia and North Carolina and parts of Tennessee. A huge need. You've seen it. Half the cities have been wiped out. All that stuff has to be rebuilt. And this guy is telling everybody, you ain't getting anything. What are all these people supposed to do with these buildings and businesses that have just been trashed by this hurricane? Completely trashed. And he's saying, you ain't getting anything.
The steel's not coming in. The lumber's not coming in. They lose their job. Everybody's hating the longshoremen now because now they realize how important our jobs are. Now I have the president screaming at me, I'm putting a Taft-Hartley on you. Go ahead. Taft-Hartley means I have to go back to work for 90 days. That's a cooling off period. Do you think when I go back for 90 days, those men are going to go to work on that pier?
He was talking about the president. He was talking about Dementia Joe, and he basically said in camera, look right at the camera, screw you, Joe. You don't scare me. I own you at this point. That's where we are with this. And people had to have seen this coming. It wasn't something that just popped up out of nowhere. People knew that this contract had to be renegotiated. And now, at literally the 12th hour, there's no deal? And Biden's saying he's not going to negotiate a deal? Are you kidding me?
It's going to cost the companies money to pay their salaries. Well, they went from 30 moves an hour maybe to 8. They're going to be like this. Who's going to win here in the long run? You're better off sitting down and let's get a contract and let's move on with this world. And in today's world, I'll cripple you.
This guy just told the President of the United States, this guy's worse than Zelensky, cut me a deal or I'll cripple you. This guy just told the President of the United States, get this deal done or I will cripple you. He threatened the President. I will cripple you.
I will cripple you, and you have no idea what that means. Nobody does.
By the way, he was president.
Okay, now you got to hear this. This is going to piss you off. This woman here, Gina Raimondo, is the Commerce Secretary for Biden. And they're going to ask her, hey, what's going to go on with this longshoreman strike?
You know what that resulted in?
Massive deficits. Seems like you kind of forgot that earlier. Yeah, and the tariffs that he did put on were continued by the Biden administration. There was no recession. Real wages were actually up. Stock market did well. A lot of very positive things happened. Record low unemployment until the pandemic. So it's just weird to act like it's a complete wild card what kind of president he would be when you had... You've got a blueprint right there of what kind of president he would be. And Kamala Harris has been vice president for 4 years, and we've seen exactly what kind of vice president she would be.
Right. What have you seen? You've seen more manufacturing in this country since any time since World War II.
I've seen real wages go down. I've seen, crime.
This is CNBC. This is the anchor on CNBC basically laughing at Biden's Commerce Secretary.
That's not true.
What's not true?
I just don't agree with that.
Real weekly wages have gone down. Average weekly wages are still down from when Biden came into office.
When Biden
all they can do is lie. Their entire administration is built on one big lie. None of these people have any competence whatsoever, and we're the ones who are going to suffer.
Came into office, we saw sky-high unemployment, sky-high.
We have rivers that are still...
All right, I'm going to go back to that part afterwards. All right, so now we're in this situation where in about 6 minutes, this is all going to come to a head. It's basically going to shut down. I keep refreshing to see if a deal is going to be made. At the last minute here, something's going to walk in and put something on here. Every time I refresh, there's nothing. In fact, I see this kind of stuff sitting here, and somebody just posted, 10 minutes till we're all, you know what, 10 minutes. What are we supposed to do? All right, let me get a couple of you guys' comments. They're going to find this guy buried next to Jimmy Hoffa. I don't get it. I don't get a 4% raise, let alone a 40% raise. Maybe the workers should be happy just to have a job and maybe not be so greedy. But at the same token, we shouldn't be in this position. We should not have been in a position where this was going to happen. Thanks for covering it. Heineken shortage coming. Oh, man. It's just so much. Our Stacy says, Barry, I believe we are in the end times. God is coming back soon. I still got some other stuff to show you besides this strike that you're just going to put your head down and go, you got to be kidding me. This can't be what's happening in this country, can it? Can this really be happening? Sounds like I'm going to go make some pizza rolls. Yeah, there's something, you're right, Stacey, there is something very fishy about all of this. And what I'm going to show you after the 10-minute warning, 5-minute warning at this point, the newcomers need work. Man, Americans are screwed again. Yeah, you guys are getting it. And think about how we here in Hawaii feel. Yep, I can imagine how you feel. God is cleaning out. So we see Trump go up today and talk to, the people up in North Carolina. Actually, he was in Valdosta, Georgia. And what I'm going to show you in a little bit, well, I can go. We can see, what happens with this entire thing as it happens. You're not going to believe this. How much money have we given to Ukraine? A couple $100 billion? Listen to this. I hope you can hear this. Listen to this.
Rising. The danger is still occurring for a lot of people. And by the way, as the FEMA can tell you, they had pre-positioned an awful lot of material throughout that area, from the Bend all the way up into Tennessee. And so the idea that we weren't prepared, the question is, no one knew exactly how devastating it would be. We knew it would be significant, and we've got a lot already in place, but there's more. But here's the point. I'm going to be asking the American people to continue to help fund the needs of these people.
The cojones on this effort. Did you hear what he said? I am going to ask the American people to fund this. I'm sorry. Did you just not give this knucklehead a gazillion billion dollars to fight this thing over in Ukraine? And you're telling us, you're in an open press area, that y'all got to pay for these hurricanes. Government, we ain't paying for it. I ain't got nothing for you. Seriously, he just said that. Tomorrow the White House may try to walk it back, as they say. But this man had the cojones to open his mouth and say that I'm going to ask you guys to pay for it. Dig deep.
It's not going to be one hit and it's over. It's going to take a hell of a long time. It's going to cost a hell of a lot of money. But this is the United States of America, and we've got to do it.
If I didn't hear that myself, this is, again, one of those things where I'd be watching going, no, he didn't say that. He didn't say you guys got to fund it. He didn't say it's coming out of our pocket. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. They find no problem writing checks to all kinds of wars. And these Americans have lost their lives, lost their properties. It's devastation to an amazing degree. And Dementia Joe says, hey, it's going to take a lot of your money. We're the government, but, we can't afford this. We can't afford that. Are you serious? Did you just say that? All right. So this is Kamala, at a photo op with FEMA. And she's sitting at the head of the table like she's actually doing something. But when it got time to basically talk to the press and do, a little bit of Q&A, they kicked everybody out. Y'all got to leave. I want you to pay really close attention. This is the Vice President of the United States, who is currently running to be President of the United States, and watch as the camera zooms. Make sure you don't have anything in your mouth because you're going to get pissed off. Not only does she have nothing to say, nothing to tell the American people, she's got this shit-eating grin on her face like, hey, you guys have no idea what we're doing. Because we don't have any idea what we're doing. Look at the look on her face. She can't even look people in the eye. I'm appalled. I want to wind it back so you guys can see. There's Dementia Joe again. Hold on. All right, so watch as it zooms and watch her face through the entirety of this cut. Does that woman look as though she cares about any American right there? You're sitting at the head of the table with FEMA, and you look like you can't be bothered. If that was Trump, you know he'd be holding court and asking all kinds of questions. Here, we're going to do. Hey, let's get this. Got to get done. What do you got? What do you got? Where we going to? Seriously? You're just going to sit there and look the other way? You're not even going to look at people? You don't even want to face people? Could she have looked more smug? This is when I started thinking something's going on. I don't know what it is, but something is going on. She can't even face people. She can't face people.
Thank you very much. Thank you. This way.
We're in trouble, people. I don't mean to be an alarmist, but I got eyes, and I can see. And it's 12 o'clock, and let me see if I can refresh, because at this point, it's probably a done deal. I don't see any notification, and they are on strike. Yep, it's official. They are on strike. Happy first day of October. The International Longshoremen's Association, a labor union representing dock workers of the East Coast and Gulf Coast, are officially on strike. They shut it down. That's it. It happened. It actually happened. God help us. God help us. Now, then, something else happened today that I want to share with you that is really starting to freak some people out. Yeah, something else. How'd your cell phone service do today? Everything was working fine? Well, check this out. According to a Tier 2 technician at Verizon, there has been a deliberate and unauthorized shutdown of the U.S. electrical grid that specifically targeted cell towers, starting locally and expanding nationwide. It's a long sentence. The long sentence says somebody pulled the plug. The long sentence here says that the electrical grid that handled those cell towers was deliberately shut down. Verizon has experienced the most significant impact, with other carriers also affected due to the reliance on Verizon's infrastructure. The systematic nature of this shutdown indicates it was likely executed with ill intent rather than being a simple system malfunction. So hold on. Hold on. We've got a hurricane that's basically destroying parts of the Southeast. We have a longshoreman strike that just began. And through all this, somebody's flipping switches and turning off cell service. Acquaint yourself, do your own homework, but acquaint yourself and look it up, 10 Days of Darkness. We are steamrolling towards something that I don't know what the hell is going on. And I don't mean to be a conspiracy theorist, but something doesn't make any sense. Here's Laura Loomer talking about hearing that the Verizon outage is more than, quote, just an outage. Source tells me Verizon has been hacked on a national level and they don't want to disclose it publicly. And the cell phones affected have actually been deregistered from the Verizon system, which is why service has been down all day and users are getting SOS messages. Verizon is totally silent. Are we at war? Because somebody's doing something. Somebody is behind the scenes pulling all kinds of strings. And none of this is making any sense because it's all uncharted territory. Yeah, there's been strikes before. Yes, there's been hurricanes before. But all of this happening at the same time, and then our vice president at that FEMA meeting just having nothing to say? Looking smug? Like you people have no idea what's coming next? Are you comfortable with that? Seriously, are you comfortable with that? Because I don't know what's coming next. We are in such a bad place right now that I don't know how long this strike could even last. I'm refreshing here and looking at some of this stuff. I told a break room of my co-workers last week to prepare for the strike, and I was met with mostly glazed eyes and zombie stares of blank-faced silence. Only the few MAGAs understood the economic message and cared. It's like most of the world is dead to reason. It's official. The longshoremen are on strike. Power grid shut down. Infrastructure with cell towers have been hacked. 10 days of darkness. I said it. There it is. Mark my word. Revelations. You better. I've been telling you for a week now. You better get out there. Get to the stores tomorrow. Start doing what you need to do. Who knows how long this will last. Just the fact that it happened, you're going to see some fluctuation in pricing and availability just because people now are going to have to go and say, how soon before I get more product in? Home Depot, Lowe's, all that lumber, all this stuff they're going to need in North Carolina. Just imagine how much lumber and nails and paint. I don't think people have been paying attention. I think that woman who said that is exactly right. People are glazed over. They don't even know. Your government's not saying anything. Your government's not telling you, hey, listen, you need to buckle down because things might get a little crazy over the next couple weeks. I've been trying to tell you to warn you so you don't have that glazed look on your face like, what's going on? All the ports on the east side, from up there to down here and around the Gulf, are done. They're shut down. And they let it happen. They didn't cave. They couldn't bust the union. So at this point, you have to at this point realize, accept it, Democrats. This election is over. It's done. She can look all smug as she wants at their meeting. It's over. The problem with that is, what do they got planned next? What exactly is going to happen next? Because all this stuff that's just happened, and it's midnight on Monday night, Tuesday morning, and then you're telling me we have a debate tomorrow night where J.D. Vance is going to wipe the floor with Tim Walz? There's no way out. She can't swim to the surface. This is over. Which tells me they're going to get even more desperate. How do you think people are going to react if they can't start getting food or the things that they normally go to the store and buy? Who are they going to blame? Not Trump. They're going to blame Dementia Joe and Kamala. And you're going to see her numbers, which means the deep staters and everybody else are going to freak out and do something. They're going to have to actually do something. And that is what's going to make this really scary, and why I decided to go on a midnight live stream is because I'm telling you, get friggin' ready. There is no downside from getting ready. There's plenty of downside if you're not ready. Everybody was watching the Miami Dolphins get their ass beat by the Tennessee Titans tonight, and I'm thinking to myself, you're watching the wrong thing. You're watching a friggin' football game thinking everything is fine. Opening up DraftKings, making your bets, but you're not making your bets on your life. This is going to get crazy if they don't figure out a way to stop it, because once it starts spiraling and her numbers start tanking, these people are going to be backed into a corner and they're going to get really desperate. And even tonight, CNN, of all networks, said, yeah, these guys look like shit, and Trump looks like the good guy.
Thank you. This way.
Thanks so much.
This way.
Heading out this way.
Folks, this way.
He is being treated not just as a former president, but almost as though he is a sitting president. As Boris, you just noted, getting a briefing from FEMA, getting a briefing from the National Guard. That is not something that is typically just offered to a candidate. They are treating him as though he is a former president who is there to help. And
yeah, I'm looking at the logo because I had to make sure myself. Yeah, this happened on CNN. The woman said on CNN, as you're looking at it, someone who's been to a couple of his rallies, this woman has, and she's never been a big advocate for Trump. And she's like, yeah, he's looking presidential. She didn't look happy about it. Like, man, this sucks. These two nuts can't do anything. Tampon Tim, he's not doing anything. And you got Trump out there, knowing that people are trying to shoot at him. You got Trump out there looking presidential. Getting briefings, talking to people, let's move some stuff, let's get some shit done. And Kamala's sitting there in the meeting like, they're going to get desperate. Let's continue this.
Thing that I had noticed earlier during our 1 p.m. conversation was that Donald Trump did not have that much to offer in terms of resources since he is not a sitting president. But I will.
Yeah. All I got is this $25 million check that I'm going to cut you out of my personal funds because the government's not doing crap. Dementia Joe just said, hey, you guys are going to have to pay for it. He doesn't control the military. He doesn't control FEMA. So this guy's one individual who, along with us, and by the way, thank you very much for all the donations today that we're going to get to Samaritan's Purse. But this is crazy. This civilian at this point is looking way more presidential than Dementia Joe and, of course, more than Kamala.
We'll note that he and the campaign say that they have arrived in that area with trucks full of supplies that they plan on giving out. So there is something there for them to offer. He also said that he had a tanker truck full of gasoline, which obviously, if you've ever covered one of these storms, you understand that one of the first things and hardest things to come by is gas.
So if you know, Miss CNN lady, and Trump knows, and we know that gas is one of the first things that people actually need, why didn't Dementia Joe have some gas up there in the sidelines, having some tankers staged a certain way so that they can get there pretty quick?
Gasoline, so he said that he was going to be giving that out. He is clearly taking this seriously as a politician is on the ground trying to show that he is there in support of the people on the ground in Georgia.
I want to read to you something.
And then we get this idiot coming up. So CNN reports and says, hey, listen, Trump looks like he's the man. Trump actually looks like someone who's doing something. Where's Dementia Joe? Oh, he was on the beach. Where's Kamala? Oh, she's, trying to raise money in California for the demise end of her campaign. Who would be giving her money at this point? And so then they truck out this numbskull, Mayorkas.
Thing that the mayor of Canton, North Carolina said, talking about the frustration that a lot of people feel about the lack of communication. Here's what he said. It is unacceptable and disgusting that in our time of need, cellular service for the entire region is blocked out. There's no excuse for that. I mean, we knew the storm was coming. I can't believe this is a normalcy. Is this a systemic problem?
This guy is completely devoid of feeling in his face. He looks like a zombie. He looks like, I don't care. We're executing our agenda, and it's just too bad. I don't know how you could have less expression on your face.
Is this something that is going to be more and more normal as we see more and more devastating storms? What do you say to people who are desperate to find out whether people they love are still alive?
I had to pause it there because I want you to hear the answer he gives her. And I always have to restate the question. What are you going to say to people who want to find out if their loved ones are still alive? That's what she said to him. There are 30 seconds left, and these people have become so astute at talking for 30 seconds and not saying anything. So, what are you going to do to help me find out whether my loved ones are still alive?
I well understand the concerns expressed. These are people in the midst of a tragic hurricane. That is precisely why we and others have been deploying communications resources to ensure that...
No, you haven't. Elon Musk had to bus in or whatever, I think it was like 10 or 30 Starlinks so that people could communicate. This is the same guy they've been trying to shut up and shut down, and Elon Musk had to take care of it.
Communication is reinstated as quickly as possible. The reality is that the severity and frequency of extreme weather events are only increasing.
This idiot was asked by this woman, what do you say to people who are trying to hear from their loved ones to see if they're still alive? And he talks about climate change. It was like he completely ignored her. Climate change. Really? Is that where you're going to go? I just don't get it. You cannot be this inept. You have to be executing a plan. There's no possible way these people could be this friggin' awful. we have wars going on all over the country. We got devastation in the southeast. We got cell towers being turned off on purpose. And this guy's talking about friggin' climate change. You have the commerce director for the White House saying, this wasn't my focus. We're doomed. We are doomed. Oh my gosh, this is just absolutely crazy. The Dallas Express News. The economy could see another blow, which will be a doozy right before the presidential election. The International Longshoremen's Association and the United States Maritime Alliance have until September 30th to reach a deal before the massive port strike ensues. Hey, knock, 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 it ensued. So what's going to happen to Wall Street tomorrow? What are we going to see in your 401k? What are we going to see? I can tell you one thing you're going to see. I can tell you right now you're going to see it. Gold is going to spike. It's probably going to be vertical. And I've been telling you guys over and over, buy some gold. Hurry up. Buy some gold. If you see what's going on in the world right now and what may happen here in America, you may want to prepare and pay attention. You know that Lear Capital is a big supporter of this show. If you want to be protected in the event that things go off the wall, I advise you to look into buying gold and silver. We are all just one catastrophic event away from the value of the American dollar plunging. Do you know what's not plunging? Gold and silver. In fact, gold hit an all-time high recently. In fact, I think it hit it again today. I'm telling you now, make sure that you have some form of your money invested in precious metals. Lear Capital will ship your gold or your silver coins directly to your house. It's not just a certificate. You can store them in your gun safe, or you can store them off-site in a 24-hour protected facility. It's totally up to you. But when things go crazy here, or across the world, the value of the American dollar is going to decline. It's inevitable, and it might not even take a war. We may do it to ourselves. And I mean, the Federal Reserve plays around with interest rates, the US dollar will likely decline in value as well. Meanwhile, you'll see gold and silver continue to rise in value. If you call Lear Capital, they will take the time to educate you and answer all of your questions about gold and silver. Just give them a call at 800-601-5430 or go to Learberry, that's me, Learberry.com to download your free de-dollarization report. You should know that Lear Capital is an American company. If you call them today, you'll be speaking with people right here in the United States. Now is the time to take action. Don't wait until after the election. That could be too late. We all want Trump to be elected. But if he isn't, or if they find a way to steal it, you'd better be prepared. Call 800-601-5430 or go to Learberry.com. And when you call, ask them how you can get up to $15,000 in bonus gold with a qualifying purchase. There's absolutely no obligation to buy anything. Just free information on protecting your hard-earned dollars with gold and silver. You know, when you think about it, you're actually not buying anything. You're simply going to be exchanging dollars for gold, moving currency. Give them a call today. Tell them Barry sent you. So it seems like the union head, that whoever he is, has said that the first thing that's going to go will be cars, because you can't ship cars. Then I just saw this pop up on Fox News. Let me just go ahead and center this so you guys can see it. As I told you, she said she's been staying. Biden-Harris Commerce Secretary says she is staying out of the potential work stoppage, the strike. That's your job. You have one job. Commerce is your job. How are you going to stay out? This was posted at 9 o'clock tonight. Secretary says Secretary of Commerce Gina Raimondo says she is not very focused on the potential for looming strikes despite the cost for the economy. Monday, on Squawk Box Monday, she hasn't been particularly involved on the potential strike of port workers that has some experts worry that could cost the U.S. economy billions every day. So let me ask you a question. If she's not concerned, if Pete Buttigieg, whatever, how you say his name, isn't concerned, and Dementia Joe's not getting involved, why are they purposely saying, whatever? It doesn't make any sense all the way around. And I know at this point, people are having to wonder, what is going on? Is there something nefarious? Because I couldn't possibly just shake and shrug this off. So it happened. We were here when it happened. And all I'm asking you guys right now is make sure, not asking you, imploring upon you, get yourself taken care of. He said, my phone was out today. She must be a Verizon. Barry, all of this is a distraction. He's threatening Biden because he can. There's ooh, I hope it, man, if those guys know that there are kids in those boxes, they need to speak out. They need to definitely speak out. The container ship in the Suez Canal, where'd that go? It went away. Newcomers need work. Yeah, okay. Are none of these coming through anymore? Okay, yeah. Sodom and Gomorrah, number 2, only worse. Immorality, pride, greed, deep corruption. Deep corruption. He talks about the blue pill. Well, I think it was a Barry. You can't be that naive. No, I'm not naive. I'm just not saying it. I don't like to say it. I'd rather other people do their homework and take a look at it. Understand what's happening. Because the more you dig, the more you'll understand that this isn't by accident. None of this can be by accident. Every single election we talk about, October surprises. Well, guess what today is? Today is October 1st. And I've told you before, it's time for you all to go ahead and grab the pill. The red one. Now, it's on you. I can't tell you anymore what to do. It's on you. Whatever moves you decide to make as an individual, as a neighbor, as a father, as a grandfather, as a husband, as a wife, now it's time for you to make your moves. Your government is not coming to help you. In fact, as you saw with Kamala, they're basically not saying anything and being quiet. So before it gets too bad, which inevitably it could get really bad, do something. Don't leave it up for somebody else. It's not a big deal. It'll be okay. As I keep saying, what if it isn't? If it's okay, no big deal. Robin and I went shopping today. Everything we got and put away, we'll eventually use it. So if nothing happens, if life is normal, sure, we just have extra stuff. But if things do end up being really bad, we're prepared. Upside takes care of itself. You got to worry about the downside. I grabbed the red pill. Grab it. The 320. You guys are getting it. The 300. It went so fast. I was going to put it up. The 320,000 missing kids. Where are they at? Martial law will be to take the guns. Whatever it is, it's not for me to say and define. It's for you to be prepared. And at this point, I think we're seeing something that's really, really nefarious. I mean, we could all wake up tomorrow and none of our cell phones work. There could be no internet service. Who knows? Who knows what's planned? Maybe there won't be a debate tomorrow because there won't be any television. I just know this. I know that she is done for. People are not going to have any choice but to turn towards Trump at this point. You can't even manage us getting goods in here. You've had 3.5 years, almost 4 years to do all the other stuff. And now, a month before the election, these guys go on strike and we can't get any goods. And my husband, who works in a car place, is getting fired and we can't get lumber to fix the houses in North Carolina and Tennessee. Oh, you're doomed. Don't believe the polls. I mean, I went over the difference between independents and lefty nuts earlier tonight. Don't believe the polls. It's about to hit fan big time. When people can't eat, they don't give a crap. They're going to take out dementia Joe. I don't mean physically. I mean, they're going to realize at this point you and Kamala are basically joined at the hip, and it's your fault. It's all your fault. Can't touch Trump on this one. I would love to sit back and watch the media. Go ahead. Tell me how this is Trump's fault. I'll wait. Trump's not working with the longshoremen. Trump's not working with FEMA. Tell me how this is Trump's fault. They can't. This is all on them. Every bit of it. If gas prices spike, it's on them. If grocery prices spike, it's on them. Tim Walz, no good at debating. Oh, I forgot to show you this one. This one is just completely like, oh my God, what am I hearing? I forgot about this one. You sitting down? Seriously, are you sitting down? Kamala Harris said she had insomnia and it hindered her on the day that she chose Tim Walz. You can't make sense of this crap. There's no way. I picked the wrong guy. I had insomnia. I was sick. That actually is the news. It's all over the place. You can look it up. It's just not one source. Kamala Harris says insomnia hindered her on the day that she chose Tim Walz. Obviously, she knows he's going to fail miserably tomorrow. This is getting crazy. Absolutely crazy. Get ready. Get ready. It's after midnight. I didn't know I'd be going this long. I'm going to let y'all go right now. See you tomorrow. We got 2 events. We got the debate and we got one of Trump's. Let's see, what's he got? I just don't even know what to say anymore because this is absolutely. We've reached a different level of nuts at this point. Let's see what he's doing tomorrow. So tomorrow he's only doing one event. He's got 1 o'clock tomorrow in actually going to be. I have to convert the time, in Wanaki, Wisconsin, and then, of course, the debate as well. So, big day tomorrow. Get prepared. That's all I'm trying to tell you is get out there and get prepared. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news tonight, but it's the real news.